Thank you for listening to Project Creator. My guest today is Jacob Rauker of FTB Productions, a music video production company that he founded in Buffalo, New York. At just 20 years old, Jacob has taken his passion for filmmaking and turned it into a successful business. We talked about his passion, his drive, and most importantly, his work ethic when it comes to being the best at what he does. If you'd like to be a guest on the podcast and tell your creator story, please get in touch. And if you'd like access to bonus behind-the-scenes material, I invite you to visit the Patreon link in the description below. And of course, I would appreciate your support. Jacob, thank you for joining us on Project Creator today. It's great to have you here, man. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, no problem, man. Very excited to be here.
So you are a video creator, but you are actually a professional video creator. So it is FTB Productions.
That is correct.
Is your production company. Tell us, what is FTB Productions? What do you do?
I specialize in music video production. The first year I was in business, I've actually been in business for 2 years now, but the first year I was in business, it was mainly local artists. This year I'm starting to get out of my comfort zone, and I kind of went national with it. Upcoming videos in Puerto Rico and New York City in the next 2 months. So yeah, just I specialize in music videos and edit promotional videos for businesses too here and there. So that's pretty much the gist of things.
I know I took a look, and looks like the primary place for folks to find you if they're interested in hiring you and talking to you about your services is, it looks like on Instagram, right? Instagram.com _FTB Productions.
Yep, that's correct.
All right, I'll have that in the description, of course.
Yeah, that's where most people can find me. I've had people book through email too, but that's where you'll get in contact with me quick, is on Instagram.
Very good. And so, of course, anybody listening, go over there and take a peek at, because I can see there's a whole bunch of your work up there now. You've got a lot of nice little thumbnails, little pieces of video that you've shared from some of your clients. So this is interesting because you are doing this professionally, and 90% of everybody out there who is a content creator is an amateur, right? I'm an amateur. Every other person you meet out there filming a TikTok outside of the In-N-Out Burger is an amateur. But you have actually found your footing in the professional space doing what you love to do. So what I want to ask you is, I want to kind of rewind the clock and go back to where you started. How did you get started making videos? What was the thought process? Were you just making videos to have fun? Where did you get going?
I would have to say, when I first started, this excites me talking about this, but the first time I ever stepped foot on an editing program, I was actually on a mobile phone. I was in 7th grade, and I was going skiing every Wednesday with school, and I was like, I'm gonna make some cool, ski edits for myself, and see how many people like it. And I showed people, and I showed my dad, and he thought it was awesome. And my dad actually had friends in a band at the time, and I liked their music a lot. So I would put their music over my edits on the mobile device, and I was so happy with it and so crazed by it. And so then a teacher recognized me in school and said, we have a TV production elective here. Would you be interested in trying it? So my 7th grade self was like, yes, I would love to do it. So I took that class for about 2 years, and it was all green screens in the back because we broadcasted our morning announcements. So I was making segments that went in front of the whole school. I would do like what's going on in gym class and stuff like that, and I really fell in love with it. And then I stopped taking the class. I really don't remember why, but I stopped taking the class, and I finished out high school, and I slowed down a little bit. I was still editing videos, but like not how I used to. And then I got out of high school, and I said, what do I really want to do? What am I good at? And that was editing videos. So about 2 years ago, I became profitable and started what's called FTB Productions now. And I started out at $50 a video. That's crazy. If you look back in what I'm charging now, that's absolutely insane. But I said, I want to build a portfolio, but I want to be profitable about it too. So I did that, and I had a couple buddies, and they're like, "Oh, well, I make music," and they were on the same level as I was, and let's make a music video. Absolutely butchered my first couple of music videos, but at the time, we both were like happy with the work that was done, and I look back at it, and I'm like, how could I let myself do something like that? I wasn't color grading. There was only one round, and I would run through it and finish it, and um, then this year actually, I actually mastered Adobe Premiere, that is a huge accomplishment for me because that's like a professional program. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I got that pretty much mastered. I know everything about keyframes. My color grading has came so far. Um, Everything about that I know how to make things twist and turn, and it's just from an editor standpoint, it's absolutely insane the possibilities that come with that program. But just the gist of things, I TV production class is how I got started in 7th grade.
That is actually really interesting to me because I think a lot of folks who want to do what you do think that I got to go to film school,
Yeah,
or you got to be
absolutely.
in where they're making things like Atlanta or Hollywood or wherever.
Right.
But here you are, and I didn't mention out of Buffalo, New York. Here you are, learning your craft in 7th grade, 8th grade, in high school.
Yeah.
That is fantastic, and like, I mean, I can't imagine having that opportunity to start learning the skills because, again, if everyone else out here, present company included, is just an amateur that's kind of fussing around, I started on Microsoft Movie Maker or whatever it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
it's 15 years ago, and now I use Sony Vegas Pro, but not very well,
Right.
uh, you know. So, uh, what was the thing that kind of made you realize, uh, wow, my stuff is worth more than $50? Because that's another thing that a lot of YouTubers are out there. I've been
Right.
part of groups on YouTube that try to preach, hey, go knock on the door on the deli down the street and tell them you just want to do a free video for them so that you can get the exposure
Right.
and whatever. Don't charge them anything, and then and then learn your value. You knew your value, it sounds like,
Right.
pretty early on.
Well, I do things in a very creative way. I try to match the work I do based on someone named Cole Bennett. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Top of the line editor. And I started getting into motion graphics and learning VFX and all that, and camera gear got to be a little more expensive when I started upgrading. I think the first camera I had was like a Sony camera from Walmart, and I was so excited I got it. I was so excited, and I look back at it now. I'm like, man, that's where it all started. Now I'm shooting on a Sony A7. It's a 4K camera, but
Nice.
once the equipment started getting more expensive, I was like, okay, I'm buying more equipment. It's time to increase the price. I'm so then they would go. It went up to $100, right? And then you'd have the people that were cheap. They fell off, and then new clients came along, and then it went to 150 to start out, and then it kept going up, so on. And now I just did a video for $1,600.
Very good.
So yeah, so it's pretty much the answer to that question is once I realized how expensive the equipment started to get. Yeah.
That's a legit answer. No, I
Yeah.
understand that completely because here I'm trying to build this conversation so that someone who's out there, uh, trying to think of doing what you do, it gives a better perspective, right? How
Right.
to think about yourself and your value, towards a potential client who wants to pay you to
Right.
do this work that they don't know how to do or don't want to do themselves. Now,
Right.
to pivot to the client, you said you started with, some guys you knew, right? That were in bands, and hey, you make videos, and
Right.
we're making music, right? So that was an easy connection. How then did you transition and start getting connected with other artists and musicians?
Social media. That's a big thing. And then this guy you did a video for knows this guy, and then this guy's like, "Oh, who did your video? Like, it's so hard to find someone in Buffalo." And then they're like, "Oh, well, this guy's super affordable compared to everybody else." And then they talk to you, and then they know two more people, and then those two people they talk to you, and they're like, oh, well, I want one. And then you really seal the deal with them when you give them a deal. You say, okay, well, this person, and this person is a recurring client, so I'm going to help you out on this. And I pride myself on customer service. I think that's a big thing that a lot of other people lack on, because if your client doesn't like your video, he's not coming back, or she. They are not coming back.
Right. They've laid out their money that they,
Right.
however they earned it on a day job, because they're just trying to get a foot in the door in the music industry.
Yeah.
And here you are, if you don't deliver something quality, great. What did I get for my money?
Right.
Nothing. Right. But so you were successful in kind of building that network.
It's a lot, it can be hard at sometimes. Like, I'll have a client, like I said, I just did a $1,600 video, and they'll be like, well, I dished out all this money. We got to make sure that every little thing is perfect on it. You might think it's a good video, but it doesn't matter what you think about it. It's what the client thinks about the video. So we'll sit there and I'll go back and forth with them, and other editors will charge them double just to go through and do another 2 rounds of editing on it. But no, I will say, okay, we're going to get this video exactly how you want it. Okay, I'll put my time into it, and just to make sure you're happy. And then you have a returning customer, which is more valuable to me.
And see, to me, that speaks to the difference between someone who's just offering a service because they have, a skill set and they have the equipment and they're in business for themselves. What you just said to me is what takes you over the line into actually being an artist yourself. That's what I heard in your answer. So it sounds to me like, what's your process in working with a musician? Because it sounds like you are trying to help them realize their vision based on what you know how to do. So how does that go? How does that generally work for you?
Every artist I work with, I've worked with people with 30,000 followers. I've worked with people with 200 followers. I treat everybody the same. Everybody's a star to me. This person's going to make it someday, and that is a potential for me to be showcased as well. Basically, no matter how big or small, I think that the artist should be treated the same, like I just said, and I think a lot of people appreciate that. Honestly,
it's unusual.
Yeah.
in the different folks that I've dealt with in my professional life, and even in the media spaces that I've worked in, all kinds of things from YouTube to podcasting to even internet radio, probably back when you were in second grade. And everybody just out there looking for recognition, but you seem to take the time to really focus on what it is that they want to get out of the process. Is it hard sometimes to do you have to like pull teeth sometimes to get some of these guys to tell you, or girls and whoever, to get them to tell you what it is they actually want? Do you ever find that person that just hems and haws and is like, oh my God, I don't know, just do this?
Yes, and it's very difficult, but the biggest thing is to stick with it. And they're the one putting the money in your pocket. They're the one making your dreams come true. So I just try to stick with it and tell myself, listen, you got to do it, and no matter how hard it is, you got to get it done. And if you don't, then you failed. That's how I look at it. And there will be people that nitpick every little thing, but their nitpicking makes it a better video. So I look at it that way, and it looks beneficial for me as well.
Right. You take on kind of the role of a consultant instead of just a camera guy and an editor.
Right. It's more than just a video business.
Exactly. Do you find that you're able to kind of suggest or take them down a path creatively? Hey, did you think about, let's try this, right? How do you get the ability to inject your creative style once you get to know who this person is?
For the most part, like the first time I have a client come in, they're usually like, okay, they'll send me a YouTube video link of a video they liked before. And I say, okay, yeah, we can do this, 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 and that. Those are our options. I get the budget. I say, okay, well, this is how much we have to work with. We can get this. If we have more, we can get this. And I give them the options. No matter how big or small they are, they get the options that everybody would get. So in studio, the top of the line camera rentals, um, location, vehicles, all that.
What I'm wondering is, like, do you have a particular client that you've worked with that was kind of like that standout person that you looked at that person and you said, right, I treat everybody like a star, right?
Right,
You focus on the customer service. You want to make that person feel valuable, but
right.
legitimately, can you think of someone that you worked with that you looked at that person and said, "Oh my god, that person is gonna blow up." Or was there a really great experience that you had working with somebody?
There is a lot of those people. Um, I like most of the music that I've done videos for already, but there is this one kid, and I still talk to him this day, and it's more than just videos with him. His name's Dylan Toole. He's from Buffalo, has about 30,000 on Instagram, and um, he pretty much, I would say, not really blow up, but he increased my following pretty much overnight. Dylan, he's as soon as he put my name on his Instagram and we became friends, that's when everything changed for me. That's when I went national. That's when I started getting people out of state, and that's the person that I think really did that for me.
That was that connection that you made, again, based on how you do what you do. You
Yeah,
cultivated a relationship that ultimately got you recognized as an artist that other artists want to work with.
right. I try to make it fun for everybody, and I actually met Dylan um, at this video shoot at a studio for a different person. He was actually a feature on this song for somebody named Jertaker, and the song was called "Wasted." We sat in the studio for 10 hours that day, making sure that everything was perfect. The fog machines were going, and I think he really took a liking to how I run my production and how good of a job I do directing. Not to pat myself on the back, but I'm very confident in my work. I'm very, very confident in my work, and you have to be in this industry, or you show any weakness, the client's going to be out the door that quick. So, but
Hmm.
that's how I built that connection, and then after that, I got his number that day, and after we started talking in the back room about Instagram SEO and promotion and how people get to that point, and he really took a liking, and we became good friends. Um, we're always networking and marketing ourselves, and he really took me under his wing and showed all of his bigger artist buddies that I got the ability to do what it takes to make everybody a good video, big or small.
Can you think of what would now that so that was a great opportunity, right? That was
Right.
a fantastic day. You made a lot of connections. It was a real experience. But what's been the most fun, right? Because I know you had a lot of fun, but that was like 10 hours in a studio. It
Yeah.
was someone else's stuff. But can you think of or tell me the most fun you've had, the most amazing thing that you were able to set up and do for someone?
Oh, I've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun. That's a tough question, but um, I had my buddy David. I've done all his video work from the very beginning till this day. I still do it, and it was a lot more fun when I first started out because we had the camera on and we would be driving down the road. He'd be driving down the road and I'd be walking with the camera and they'd be sitting on top of the car and cars would be flying by looking like, what are you doing? Like, what is he doing on top of the car? And we're just filming him. And he, those are the most fun times is when you get to do stuff like that. And it's just exciting. It's very exciting.
Get
When
that like I'm a spectacle, right?
Mhm.
You told me before we started the interview that you just got back from California,
Yeah.
and I think that's a good time for me to ask you. First of all, what tell me what took you out to California? Because that for some dude in Buffalo is trying to build a business. You're
Right.
in LA. What's happening here?
Well, it was kind of like a mix of sporadic and planned. My grandfather actually he hitchhiked down to California when he was a kid with this guy. With this guy's brother. They went down there, they hitchhiked all the way when they were like 19, 18, 19. And one of the guys stayed. and they got jobs at a film studio, which would be CBS. Um, Basically, the guy didn't come back to Buffalo. He stayed, and he advanced in the company very, very high. And now he's like a big shot at CBS. And I was planning on meeting him down, as we've been planning this for months. I was planning on meeting him down there. I just didn't know when. And then I went down there and I gave him a call and I said, can I get the tour? Can I check it out and everything? And maybe you can give me a few connections. Well, unfortunately, with the world right now, COVID kind of prevented that tour. But I did talk to him on the phone, and he did tell me that he knows somebody that might be able to help me because he's more in the TV production aspect. But there's this guy named Rick, and he said that he's going to talk to him this weekend and see if they can get me the connection down there and try to get my foot in the door for the to go big time here pretty soon.
I mean, and clearly that's the place, right? It was. I kind of
Yeah,
threw that example off earlier based on what you said, which is, tell us that experience of walking around or driving around in LA and you're just surrounded by content creators everywhere. Tell me about
everywhere.
that.
In a place like Buffalo, you would look weird if you had a circle light and a ring light and a phone in it, and you're on the sidewalk filming a TikTok. You wouldn't, you would look at that and are like, what is this kid doing? You know what I mean? You go to LA, everyone's doing it around every street corner. Everyone's making content, and it's the normal there. And everyone just keeps going about their day. I walked outside of my hotel actually, and there's a helicopter spinning in the air, and I'm like, what's going on with the helicopter? I drive down the road, and everything's blocked off, and you got a cameraman shooting up in the sky in the middle of the day, and a helicopter spinning in the air, and they're filming a movie, and I'm like, they're filming a movie. And you see all the film studios. You're driving down the street and you see these big studios, and it's just like, that's where I want to be. I want to be running a studio here. I want a lot. I want this camper. I want to make sure my artist is comfortable here. You look at it and there's so many possibilities of what could possibly happen, and that you could possibly be there. I'm driving down the road and thinking to myself, wow, I might be back here. I might be back here pretty soon doing a big production for a celebrity artist or somebody. The aesthetic is unreal. It's unreal.
The whole vibe. I mean, it just again, coming from, we are right. I'm a
Yeah.
Rochester guy. You're a Buffalo guy. We know what New York is. We're not New York City. We know what it's like up
Right.
here.
Oh yeah.
Um, and trust me, I've been that guy in the middle of some park somewhere with a stupid camera on a selfie stick talking,
Yeah.
and people giving you the side eye. What the hell is that
And
guy doing?
it's hard to get out of your comfort zone. That's a problem that I had, was getting out of my comfort zone in the very beginning, and trying to film myself a little bit, and it was tough for me. It was really tough because someone always had something to say, and there was people that always were hating on me when I was doing it. You're like, why are you spending so much time on that? You're a kid. Why are you spending so much time on that? Now I'm 20 years old, and they wish they were doing that. They wish that they were doing what I was doing at that age because of how far I've came doing it. And it's like, I just stuck with it, and that's the best way to be, and that's how you get places. You can't worry about what other people think about you.
And look, I'm not trying to blow smoke up your behind here, brother, but at 20 years old, like, we just spent the last 25 minutes talking about your journey from, right, being able to go to a film class in high school to, by all accounts, is a successful and burgeoning business at age 20.
Yes.
And I mean, to me, it just feels like it's got to be the work ethic has got to be the difference maker.
There is plenty of nights where I'm up until 4 in the morning. 6 in the morning, I think, is my record. 6 in the morning. And then you go to sleep for a little bit, and then you get up and you try to book more people. You say, I got to get more work. The bills have to get paid, and there's no other greater feeling than doing what you want to do, and what you're destined to do. Actually, that's really, that's what I have to say about it. Is I think that I'm destined to do this, and if I keep at it, I think I could be a lot farther in another 10 years.
I'm fascinated by that, by the story. And so inevitably, right? This has been a great, like, wow, I'm climbing up this story ladder with this dude here.
Yeah.
So I have no choice but to now turn around and say, hold on, this is the real world a second here. So what I want to ask you is, we talked about great experiences, awesome artists. We've talked about fun times and goofiness, embracing the ridiculous in public, right? But here's the deal. Tell me um, the real daily toll that it takes, right? Tell me about um, when you struggle.
Huh. That's a tough question. There's a lot of frustrating. I got a great answer to that question. The worst feeling in the world is when you're editing in Premiere and you forget to save something, or if you lose files, if your files just go missing, then you're missing that segment, then you're digging for them and digging for them, and you're like, wow, I put so much work into that, just that one frame, those 1 to 5 frames. I put so much work into it, and it's gone. And I've used a lot of profanity when that happens, and but the big thing is I always find a way to overcome it and make it work out still. I I can honestly say I've never failed anybody when it comes to a video. If I had a problem, I always fixed it. I had a video shoot, my tripod broke, and it was a still shot the whole time on a green screen. Tripod breaks. How am I supposed to hold it? Well, a little bit of electrical tape helped me out there, and I still made it happen. And they can't tell there was electrical tape on the tripod, but they still got to see the footage, and the footage was just as good. You gotta adapt and overcome when you have hiccups, I guess you could say. And no matter what, it's got to get done. You got to do everything you possibly can to make sure it's perfect.
Yeah, and I can kind of feel that coming off you, right? Because look, anybody who's done, right, bigger scale videos, YouTubers are out there. I hate that word YouTubers, but
Yeah.
um we've all experienced that, right? This thing crashes, or the camera breaks, or I can remember once trying to set up a shot on the side of the road, and I wanted to drive by it really fast, and the damn
Yeah.
camera kept getting knocked over by the wind, and I'm like, this is so stupid. What am I doing, right?
Yeah.
But it's a different scale when someone has hired you and is paying you money to
Oh
deliver a
yeah.
product, right? I just, the pressure must feel immense in
And
those moments.
it's crazy. It's that, like I said, that $1,600 video I did, and I always call it the $1,600 video because that's the most expensive video I've done so far. Um, and the reason that that's the most expensive one is because I like to make sure that I have an affordability aspect too. Like I said, I try to do it and make everybody feel like a star, but I try to make it affordable for them, but not draining my pockets as well, if that makes any
Mhm.
sense. And if I enjoy doing it, there's no reason why $300-$400 profit is going to be bad for me. You know what I mean? On a lower scale video.
Sure. And because again, there's that fine line between, you mentioned it earlier, the things that you have to do to set up, to provide materials or settings or whatever else is needed
Oh yeah.
as part of this. So it's not just turning on a camera and framing a shot. It's logistical, right?
Yep.
There's a whole bunch of moving parts to be able to deliver that product.
I have a whole process that I use when I do videos for people. And um, I start out by, you got to book the client first. That's the first step. The second step is planning and script writing. I write a script for everybody's video, and and the reason I do that is I'm confident in myself where I could go out there and I can imagine what I want to do and then bring it back and kill it. But I can kill it even more if I have it written down and I know exactly what's going to happen here, or this is the shot I want. This is how I want to move the camera. And it's also good for the artist because they can have an idea before you go into the video of kind of what it's going to look like. If they see it written on paper, they can imagine that in their head and understand that. So the planning and the script writing comes second. That includes, like, if I have to book studios, cars, outside talent, all of that comes second. And then the third one, that would be the film process. Go there, film, execute, come home, 2 rounds of editing and color grading, and then delivery, all in about a week's time.
That's it's a lot of work in a
Yeah.
week. Right? And I mean, it sounds like you're fortunate enough to get this thing launched fast enough that, like, I'm guessing here, but you're probably not like pulling down, part-time shifts in retail in the middle, right? You're
No,
actually full-time. This is your
this is
business.
it.
This is your
This
job.
is it. Yep. Yep.
This is the
This is
deal.
it. For the next 3 months, I have about 3 openings left.
Wow.
Yeah. And,
It's like
that,
a good problem to have.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I couldn't be more happy about it. I really couldn't.
I want to stay down. I want to stay down on the ground for just one more thing. Can you think of an artist that you worked with that was just impossible to either get what you needed from them, or, like, have you had that really difficult client?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I'm not going to say names, but yes,
Sure.
I have had that client. And it's, you go through it and then they change their mind, and then you got 3 paragraphs in your text messages of, okay, I want it like this. And sometimes that can be very, very bad for your video, because then you're taking away my creative aspect on it. And the reason you hired me was because you thought I could do a great job on it. And sometimes when you nitpick every little thing, it kind of makes me feel like I can't put my creative touch on it. But I always do find a way to make sure I incorporate something to show that it was my video that I edited, and make it different than everybody else.
Like your stamp, right? Yeah, your personal twist.
Right. Not even like my FTB Productions tag that goes on every video, but like I could tell that I did this video because this is in it. This is how he edited it. That's his style. That that's what that's the deal breaker, is I want to have my own style.
Have you, like, run into any? You mentioned the lag on a tripod, right? Breaking in the middle, and you MacGyvered it, right?
Yeah.
I really appreciate actually hearing you say that, because I have adult kids. I have kids your age.
Yeah.
And from the time they were tiny, I have always taught them, if you don't have a tool, you make one
Yep.
and you get it done, whatever you're working on. So that was like a little, I got a little chill on that when you said, like, hey, man, I'm going to tape that sucker. We're going to keep going. I'm going to fix it on the
Yep.
fly and we're done. Have you ever had anything like go catastrophically wrong in the middle of a shoot?
Camera battery died. So
Oh no.
I actually got, but I made it work. Well, when you hear this story, you're gonna be like, wow, because um, my buddy told me a while back. He said that Concert Crave was looking for someone to do an artist showcase, and it was in Syracuse, and usually they're in New Jersey or Boston or all over the place. And there, one finally came to Syracuse, and they were looking for someone to do the recap video, and it wasn't paid, but I still wanted to do it because it was Concert Crave, and they're huge. So I got there, I signed my contracts, and it was a 4-hour drive to Syracuse. I signed my contracts, and I went out and started filming. Well, about halfway through, I burned up the camera battery, and I forgot one at home. So here I am. All right, now I got 2 camera batteries instead of 3. I took my charger, went and plugged it in the back maintenance room, and I would film. Okay, battery would die again. Go back to the room, let it charge up for a couple minutes. All right, grab it, back in, film. Go back in, recharge for a little bit. It sucks when you have to do that, and I learned from that mistake, and I stay prepared now and make sure all my batteries are charged before shoots. But that was a while ago, and I was kind of inexperienced on that and really wasn't thinking, and but you need those hiccups. You need those, because if you don't have them, you're never going to learn from them.
Learning from the mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Taking what went wrong, and now I'm never going to do that again.
Right.
So you mentioned earlier on too that your primary clientele, your customer base, right, are artists, musicians, bands,
Right.
rappers, singers. But you also mentioned that you've kind of dabbled a little bit into, like, corporate or business related videos. So what's the experience?
Right.
What do you do there, and what's the experience around that?
So I had a tree service. They contacted me recently, and they were looking to get a promotional video to post on Facebook and maybe catch an audience eyes and maybe invest in them because they can visually see. Everyone, when it comes to videos, everybody wants to see something. They want to be able to look at it and see what they're getting. When you have an ad on a piece of paper, it tells you their services, but it doesn't show you what they're doing. Now, the tree service is a good example of this, is because I go there, I film the video, I show them working and how they take a tree down, and I put my creative twist on it and make it a fast-paced thing. Quick, 30 seconds in and out, and you get to see everything they're doing in that 30 seconds, and you're not losing your audience. You're still keeping them engaged as you do it. And, I think a lot of businesses appreciate that, and that's why I've been on the upside of that. But for the gist of things is just make sure that you can grab the audience's attention, and that's what I would have to say on how to get business clients.
And it's got to be a different vibe completely, right? A different feel.
Oh,
You know how artists are, singers,
right.
everybody's jumping around, dancing, laughing,
Yeah.
everybody's having a good time. This is great. But here you're dealing with people probably in suits, folks that are looking at their bottom line and all that. So it's got to be a little different. That process of writing a script and all of that, is that a different tone? And
Yeah,
is that jarringly different?
the script really isn't too necessary for like the promotional videos, but I still write them anyway, but they're not as advanced. Nowhere near as advanced. One, the videos aren't as nearly as long. They're about a quarter of the length.
Sure.
Two, you're not really lip matching at all. You're not really trying to get that scene to pop so hard. Like, it's a different aesthetic. When you're filming a music video, you got spins. You want your camera spinning and going on, and then boom, flash. You know what I mean? When you want to keep a professional aspect on it when you're doing it for a business, and sometimes it's crazy how to adjust. You'll go one day, you'll be doing a video for somebody and they'll be swearing and doing all of these crazy explicit things, and then you'll go to then you got to switch to your professional aspect the next day and make sure you know how to talk to that person and guarantee them that you're going to be able to give them the service that they need.
I guess not to put too fine a point on it, but like those are the moments where you can't talk like a 20-year-old, right? You've got to, and you're very well spoken, right? Yeah. And I think that comes from the experience that you've had thus far in the world that you've created for yourself.
Right.
Being able to speak at that professional level, coming off of dealing with a whole bunch of young, crazy artists that are bouncing around and doing ridiculous things, being able to kind of turn on a dime it's got to be exhausting, but it's interesting.
Oh yeah. I was always a really good speaker. I was in a program called 4-H when I was younger, and we used to have to do a public presentation every year. You had to do one public presentation. And I grew up on the outskirts of Buffalo. I grew up in like a rural neighborhood my whole life, which is, you wouldn't think that because of like most of these people are like really fast life editors and mainly from the city and suburban areas. And, most of my friends that I grew up with growing up were into way different things than I was into. I was always into cameras and filming and editing and all that. I was filming videos on like a camcorder I got from Christmas when I was like this tall. And a lot of it, I was doing the public presentations, and I would go to regionals and states, and I would get so down on myself if I lost at regionals, and because I knew how to talk. I was always an entrepreneur, and my mother said it, my grandmother said it, that I am just a natural entrepreneur. It just comes natural.
Well, again, to take that talent that you developed at a young age and so quickly translate it and ramp it up into something in the professional space, it does. I here again, you're kind of demonstrating that willingness to just grind it out and do the actual work and still somehow compose yourself. Right? I mean, you've talked about 4:00 in the morning and you've talked about hours. I mean, how do you not hit a wall? How do you keep yourself grounded and sane and not crashed on the couch after 2 5-hour energies?
because the thing that I have to say the most about that is not wanting to lose your creative ability. You're in that video, you're in it, and you're just booming, booming, booming. You got ideas here, here, here. You're in it. You're in it. Sometimes I want to finish a video in a whole day, but I know I shouldn't. But you'll stay up as long as it takes to keep that creative flow going. Because as soon as that creative flow stops, you hit the wall the next day. And, that's why I try to get all my lip matching done. I try to get everything set up for the VFX, and then I'll have an idea of what's going on. But perfection, I'm a perfectionist, so it takes it takes me that long to get to that point, and I don't want to lose that creative flow, I guess.
But is there an opportunity for you to decompress, right? At what point are you ever able to stop being JT, the video guy, and be Jacob, who wants to go visit friends or family or go see,
Right.
an elder relative or so, do you get that opportunity to ever decompress and like stop and go, okay, oh, gosh, I just want to talk to my buddy and I just want to go, sit somewhere and go to.
I can't tell you how many times my friends call me, and if they're watching this right now, I'm sure they're going to be, but I can't tell you how many times they call me and I say, no, I can't. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. I don't want to, because I feel lazy and unproductive. If I'm not at this desk or in this entire office right here, if I'm not right here, my mind's going, what are you doing? Why aren't you working? Why aren't you trying to get yourself somewhere? Because it doesn't come easy. And you don't become a national celebrity editor or professional at that level, multi-millionaire editor, without putting your time in, constantly grinding. That's all I want to do. I don't. I go and see my parents every couple of days, but I'm constantly grinding, and that's all I'm thinking about. And when I'm with them, that's all I'm talking about. And everybody knows that. That's all it is. Is FTB is everything to me, and it's everything.
This is who you are. This is what you do. This is what you're about. I know they got to be proud of you, man. Again,
Very proud.
I have, I got a 23-year-old, I got a 22-year-old, I got an 18-year-old. I get it. And I hope your parents do hear this and get that validation that you're doing the right things and, you're grinding it out, man. You're making that name. And I think all I can do is wish you the best, dude. I think you've got that drive and that passion, and keep at it, whether it's, LA or New York or wherever you happen to end up, Florida, Georgia, Christ, there's all kinds of hot spots for
Yeah.
the type of work you do. But
Right.
what's so you're grinding out, you're doing your thing. What's the next, I guess, what's the next goal, right? What is the next level for you? What do you want to achieve? Are you like one of these people that sets, all right, within the next year, I want to accomplish this, or within the next
Yeah.
5 years, I want to be here? What's next
Uh,
on your ladder?
Well, I do have a list of. I got long-term goals and I have short-term goals, and I like setting goals because it's okay. I reached this milestone. Now bring the next thing on. Let's bring the next thing on, and some of my short-term goals is, like I said earlier in the podcast, is I'm new to the national thing this year. I'm just starting to fly out of state and, get these high budget clients that are willing to pay for me. And I've built myself up where I can send them to work and they're like, okay, I'm going to bring this guy out of Buffalo. And they don't, sometimes they don't find you. You have to go out and find them. You have to find them. And, listen, man, like I can do this for you. This is what I can do for you. And if you don't want to do it, I understand. But I'm telling you, it would be in your best interest, and I could give you a better deal than anybody else. And that's how you seal the deal with them. And I would say I want to get more out of state gigs. I want to have it for the whole year. I want to fly out once a month at least, every month for the whole year. Definitely want to increase my clientele a little more. I have about 20 reoccurring clients right now, people that have came back. And then I don't really count the clients that haven't returned, but there isn't really many of them anyway. But
Mm-hmm.
I have about 20. I'd like to get up to a point where I'm I never hit that slow time. And that's another thing about Buffalo is the winter time, because there is people that don't want the studio. They're like, I want to film my video here in front of this giant mural or on a brick building, or let's do it like this, and I'll sometimes I'll suggest it. I'll say, let's cut costs and let's do it here, because I know the city in and out, and I know exactly where we got to go to make a movie. And it's tough to do that in the winter. I actually did one over the winter in an abandoned building this past winter, and I was outside 3 hours and my hands were freezing on the rig, and I'm just like, get through it, get through it, get through it, get through it. And we got through it, and we did a great job on it. And I'd have to say my third short-term goal would have to be, I want to get a better understanding of After Effects. I have done a couple of visualizer videos with After Effects, but there's so much to learn in that program, and I haven't quite mastered that program yet, but I do have an ability to use it. I just want to get better with it.
So it's not just growing the business, it's not just growing the clientele, but you're continuing to reinvest in yourself and your education and learning,
right.
what do I not know how to do yet that I'm going to need to get to that national stage and be recognized
Right.
by bigger people and bigger companies and all that. So the continuing education's obviously got to be a big piece.
Right. Yeah. And I'm a big believer in, I don't think anybody should go to film school. I think it's a huge setback. If you think about investing in yourself, think about it. We have this platform called YouTube. Mm-hmm. Whenever you need to know something, you go on that platform, and somebody who did go to school will teach you how to do it. And, starting out, that's where I started learning of what does this panel do, and what does this panel on Premiere do, and what is this panel. And then once you learn the basics, then you have those panels mastered. Now I can go in the effects, and we'll play around with that effect. We'll play with this effect. We'll see what that does. It's a lot of practice. Sometimes you have to sit back and do a video for yourself once in a while and try to get better at it, especially in this industry.
Last question I had was just in terms of that growth. When you look at and those short-term goals that make a lot of sense for you to be able to grow, to learn, to establish, are you really just a one-man band, right? I mean, is there the point where you're going to have to look at this and go, I'm going to have a team. I'm going to have employees. I'm going to have other artists that I trust. Or is it that hard, right? You're going to hold on like an iron grip to control.
I have brought people in to help me before. When I shoot in the studio, sometimes when I have the fog machines going, I'll bring a few people in and pay them while I'm operating the camera to hit the buttons on the fog machines and stuff. But when you get into the bigger productions down the road, I watch a lot of behind the scenes Cole Bennett and how he does things. And you got a guy for key grip, you got a guy who's accommodating the artist, but these are all people that he hires every time he does a video to make sure that everything is just perfect. And that's why they get their credit in the end of the video. But I've came to the conclusion that I want to be in this kind of by myself. And if I got to hire somebody down the road to do something else for me, I don't think a person's going to be able to move a camera the way I do. I think that if I'm not moving the camera, it's not my video. I really do think that.
It's an interesting perspective, and I appreciate you sharing that as well.
Right.
All right, and then finally, one more. I keep thinking of one more. I'm going to put you in front of that. I don't know, man. Pick an age: 12, 14, 16-year-old Jacob, right? The next JT.
Yeah.
And you meet this kid, and you see, all right, I see you, young person, young lady, whoever you are. What do you say to that person, right? If you go back in time and be able to give yourself or give that next young creator, what's the one thing you wish that you had figured out earlier or had somebody tell you, hey, genius, do this instead of that?
The biggest thing is to go by this motto, and that is, there is never any problems. There is only solutions. And a wise man told me that when I was I was working in bricklaying when I just got out of high school, and that's when I kind of was like, I'm sick of this trade. I got to do something that I want to do, and that's what I would say. There is never any problems, only solutions. And another thing I would say is protect yourself and your clients, because there is people that are waiting to snatch them right out from under you. And you always got to beat your competitor. I take that very, very seriously. And a lot of people are like, why are you so competitive in this? Why are you so competitive? Why are you getting, offended by that? Like, because, when you do something for somebody and then they go to somebody, you do a video for somebody, they go to somebody else and they make a graphic on it and put their name on it, that hurts. That hurts really bad. And, they're always waiting. I've done videos for people, and then they've tried to get in the industry. They've tried to go and do it. They watch me. I've done editing with them on Zoom and showed them how I do everything and just, that customer service aspect. And they'll go that quick and they'll try to start it and they'll go through all your followers and try to do it. But I've never had one stolen from me, because I have the customer service level that they'll send me a message. Look who just tried to hit me up for a video. And I'll be like, well, that's kind of funny. I can't believe I just did one for him and he went out and did that. So, and that brings me back to the clients that have not been recurring. It tends to happen in those. People will sneak in and try to get the know-how and then try to jump out quick.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I suppose maybe it's because they think, wow, that's so cool, I want to do what he does. But I can see in the business world that yeah, there's probably that extra layer of cutthroat. I'm going to try to make some money off of this cat, right? I guess I could see that. And I always try to see the better angels in people, but it's hard when you get into business. So
it's very, very difficult to not be, and because there's only a select certain of people that are going to make it. And if you don't give it everything you got, and if you don't try to be better than the next person, you're not going to make it, because they're going to want to be better than you. They are going to you want to be the best possible film person, the best possible editor. I should say videographer, not film person, but the best videographer, the best editor that you can possibly be. And you have to be confident in your work, because if you're not, they're gone like that. There's a million of us. There is a million of us, and so they will find someone else.
Well, my hope is legitimately that they find you, and that you continue to grow and that you continue to expand. And I'm so grateful for you to take the time out of what is obviously a very busy schedule on a Saturday night to come and hang out with this old guy here and tell your story. Jacob, I really am super happy that I got to meet you and talk with you and spend some time. Everybody, again, if you want to learn more, if you want to hire this young man right here, you're going to go over to Ftb Productions on Instagram. Look him up, send him a message, and thanks again for doing this. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Very good. Have a great night.